Hello, and welcome to Stage Screening in Between with Helen. I'm HELEN Proimos. Thanks for tuning in. First off, I'd like to give a shout out to our healthcare workers, first responders, and essential workers. Stay safe, and thank you. Today, I have as my special guest, Donna McKenna, who is an established casting director, a producer, and she sits on the board of Suffolk County Film Commission. How you doing, Donna?
I'm well, thank you, Helen. Thank you for having me. And
Oh, thanks for coming.
I love your introduction. And yes, we are so blessed to have amazing essential workers. And
Yes, we are. And, our thoughts and our prayers are with anybody who's been ill from COVID-19 and those that have lost loved ones during this. This is a really tragic situation, but hopefully we're going to touch on that during the show. And then we're going to touch on some lighter things like what's going on in the indie film world. Okay, so Donna, tell us, you've been through a lot really during this pandemic because you got a new grandson, didn't you?
Yes, I did. Yes, my first grandson, born very early. So I really feel that he knew something was coming down because he came out very early. It was
and he just made it under the wire. I mean, he was born right as this was coming to our attention, wasn't he?
He was born on the 3rd of March and lockdown started around the 13th and 14th. So yes, so we were actually lucky enough to get a plane out and go be with him for for 4 days until they locked us, out of the hospital. But then we got to stay with my daughter and son-in-law and help them out and get them ready for their lockdown because she had to have a C-section. The baby was born very early. He normally, his due date was April 15th. So he came very early.
Wow. So now, how have you been keeping yourself busy other than that during the pandemic? What have you been doing?
I've been keeping busy. I'm doing a lot of coaching online, pro bono. I'm doing it all over the world. I've done a lot of Q&As for various agencies and management companies and the schools in New York City, and a lot of coaching, which, it's great because it's my way of giving back without leaving home. And I do all ages. I did kids yesterday in Ohio. I did people in Italy the other day, and it gives the parents a break. And it keeps the kids creative and the adults creative.
Right.
Keeping busy doing that. And in all honesty, it gets me up, it gets me dressed.
Yes.
It gets me, to feel good and, keep busy, not worry about my husband, not miss that I'm not with my son. So.
Yeah. Now explain to everybody, your husband has a compromised immune system and he's also an essential worker, isn't he?
Yes. He's a kidney transplant recipient. Actually, it was 3 years this past Sunday. So we're very
congratulations to Timmy. Yes.
Yes, thank you. And he does work for the New York City Water Department of Environmental Protection Service. So he takes care of the New York City drinking water, and that's very essential. So he does have to go. I mean, they are taking, high precautions and they're always cleaning and scrubbing, but it's still scary.
Of course.
He's in an office. Some of his people have had this horrible illness, and people have lost family members. Not a funny story, but another ironic story, which I wrote a journal for my grandson. He came early. He came on March 3rd. Like I said, he was not supposed to come till April 15th. We went to Indiana. We couldn't get a flight out till March 5th, I believe, or 6th, right? His partner at work came down with the virus on the 10th. So the moral of that story is if this baby was not born, my husband would have been at work.
And he would have been in the thick of it.
Yes. So I called my grandson. I tell him, you're a hero before you're even born. Didn't even know it. And they were worried about Tim because the bigger wigs, I guess, didn't realize that he was, on a very fast vacation, so they came and the CDC had to come and clean his whole place out when he got back, into town. And it kind of looks like, they had the hazmat suits on. It looks like all the space.
Wow.
So, but
I was going to ask you, did they provide him with gear? You know,
Yeah.
does he have a mask and all that
Yes,
stuff?
he has a mask, he has gloves. We're very blessed. We have stuff. I couldn't get Lysol like anybody else,
Yeah.
but I have
Yeah.
a very dear manager friend in Mississippi, and she sent me a box from Mississippi
Wow.
last week.
Gold.
It was gold, and
Good as gold.
but it
Yeah.
takes no money. And I said, I have to do something for you. I can't just, I mean, she sent me 3 bottles of Lysol
Wow.
and wipes, because she knew I have to, I wipe everything down when Timmy comes in. He goes right into the shower,
Right.
and I spray everything. So I'm going to give her kids an hour coaching class for clients.
Oh,
So
that's
that makes
nice. That's a
kind
good
of
idea.
a barter, right?
Right. Right. Why not?
My money, so I had to do something. So I told her, I said, I'll do monologues for an hour next week with your 10 clients. So she was, it's a win-win for both of us.
Good. So now tell us something about, you have an audio show that is called Powder Burns. Tell us something about that.
Powder Burns was done by David Gregory, and I cast a few of the episodes. It's an award-winning audio show. It stars David Gregory and John Wesley Shipp. John Wesley Shipp is from The Flash, and David Gregory is known for his role on One Life to Live when the soap operas were still on air, which they probably should bring them back. I think people are asking for them. And it's great. It's an audio show. It has a lot of guest stars. Ed Asner is one of our guest stars on there. The late, great Robert Vaughn, and just so many. And you can go to the Powder Burns website and, listen to it. And many people are listening to it right now. Many people.
Now you also have Night Sweats and the same actor, because we happen to watch The Flash all the time. He's also in Night Sweats, right?
Yes, Night Sweats. It was theatrical release this November. We had our premiere and it was wonderful, and we got some really good reviews. It's now on Amazon. Ironically, it's about a virus that's released in New York City, but it's only released to certain people. And I don't want to give too much away, but people are watching it. So
it's a feature film?
A feature film, yeah.
Okay, and where can we see that? On Amazon?
That's on Amazon, yes. It's called Night Sweats. It's
Cool.
got an ensemble.
So now let's go back a little bit, because you worked with Eric Roberts on Leaves of a Tree, and you got to go to Italy, right? On that. And boy, have they been suffering with the pandemic in Italy. Good, how timing works, good thing it was back then, not now.
Right. No, they have been. I'm still in contact with a lot of the, film family over there in Italy, and they've been really suffering. Yes, we shot in beautiful Castel di Mare del Golfo, and with Eric Roberts and Amara Sante and Sean Young, Sarah Healy, Federico Castelluccio. Oh my gosh, so many other people. And it's based on a book that David J. Healy wrote years ago. And it's also about a miracle olive tree that is a healing tree in Italy. So again, it's a faith-based, we've done really well. That's on DigiNext right now. Yes. Right. And from that, I got, I've been blessed to do, I think, 20 films with Eric Roberts. So dear friend of mine. And, I'm so lucky to have him in my life.
Yeah, that's great. Now, what about the West End? What is that about?
West End is, that was done right before Superstorm Sandy on the Jersey Shore. And I believe, from what I hear, it's the last original footage of the pier before it was washed away. That's on Amazon Prime right now too. And that's great. I mean, it's West End.
What is the premise of that? What is that about?
It is, I don't want to give too much away.
Okay.
It's about a son that moves away from his so-called mob family, and then comes back because his father, which is played by Eric Roberts, he gets a hit on him and dies, and he comes back to, try to figure out what happened. And there's some great people in that. Peter Honorani from SWAT, Anthony Mangano, Lou Martini, Melissa Archer, Neil Bledsoe from Shameless, Joe Nieves from the Disney show Stuck in the Middle, Eric, of course, many others. Wow, there's a big ensemble on that one.
Now they're saying that there was a rumor that Disney might not open until 2021, but now I'm starting to hear that they might open Disney and it will be socially distant. How do you think they're going to do that?
I have no idea. And, I'm supposed to be going to Disney to work because I coach and work kind of all over. And we're scheduled to go there, I believe, in August, if I'm not mistaken. And they rented out a whole hotel for us where the
Uh-huh.
agents and managers and casting directors go. And we do a showcase for talent all over the world.
Yeah, I had been with you to that a couple of times
Yes,
at the
yes.
Swan, right? At the Swan, we did
No,
that.
yes, but no, this is another one. But yes, it's like that. Yes.
Yeah,
So, and
that's very intense. That's very intense.
very intense.
Yeah, it's fun, but it's work. Yeah.
Oh, it's work. Oh, yeah. We have a couple of those events coming up. I don't know what's going to happen. I'm probably, unfortunately, might not be able to attend because of until there's a vaccination, because I got to be really careful with Timmy.
Yeah.
I have to be really careful. And I just want to get to Indiana and see my grandbaby.
I know. Well, slowly, I mean, they're doing this by colors, right? Green, yellow is they're going to open some businesses and then it's going to go to green. It's a slow process.
Yes.
But do you think that people are going to be afraid to go out even when it's a green light?
I don't know. I think there will be some. I think people are going to be more cautious and more aware. Myself too. I'm a very huggable person. I
Yeah.
mean, I hug strangers.
Well,
I've
you're not
done
going to
it.
be able to do
I
that now. You're going to have to think twice.
No, I know. And I mean, I've hugged. I've purchased meals for homeless people in the city, and then I hear their story, and I've hugged them. But now
Yeah.
yeah, there's going to be no more hugging or shaking hands is another big thing. So
Yeah.
I don't think
Not even fist pump.
no, I know. Oh,
I think it's something like this, right?
something or
And a nod.
love,
Yeah.
love will do.
And a nod.
A nod. They'll come up with something, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I
Yeah.
think we're going to be more cautious. You know.
Yeah. So tell me something about the Fifth Borough. What is that?
The Fifth Borough. The Fifth Borough comes out June 3rd. We're really excited about that.
Now, who's in that?
Oh gosh, well, Steve Stanulist, who also wrote it. Well, no, John Bianco wrote it. He directed it. Tara Reid stars in it with Steve Stanulist. Audrey Landers, remember Audrey Landers?
Uh-huh.
My,
Yeah.
she's wonderful. She plays a nurse. It's so funny when everybody finds out Audrey's in it, they think she's like a glam lady. She's a doctor, a cancer doctor, and she's fabulous. Who else is in that? Oh my goodness, Vincent Young. There's so many. Al Sapienza is fabulous in it. Louis Veneria.
What's that one about? What's Fifth Borough about?
Well, it's about, the Fifth Borough, Staten Island. And
Okay.
it's about a family that their daughter is sick with, she's diagnosed with cancer. And Tara Reid actually plays a detective. And they need money for treatment. So the father, played by Steve Stanulist, has to go to the family to get
Mhm.
money. And it's got a lot of twists and turns. And Anthony Mangano's also in that, James Russo. That's a really big ensemble. Not many women. Oh, Erin O'Brien is in it. Yes, she's a woman. And Tara Reid and Audrey Landers. Lauren Gordon Cohn is in it, which we're really excited. I think it's her big debut. And yeah.
So listen, Donna, maybe you can give some insight to some actors who may be watching this.
Yeah.
What do you look for when you have a breakdown and you have to cast somebody? What do you look for in the talent?
I mean, I look for the talent, of course, their personality. And when they come into the audition room, what I really look for is the choices they make and, their passion for the role and what they bring to the character and choices. I always tell actors, don't be afraid to make a choice. Make a choice. Even if it's the wrong choice, you made a choice. And always do something different than you think everyone else is going to do. Like if when you get your sides, and my dear, dear friend Ronnie Marmo told this to my students, and now I tell it to all my students and everybody I talk to. Ronnie gave me permission to pass it on. But he said that when he goes on an audition, he looks at the sides and he says to himself, How are all those other guys out there going to do it? And he does something different. And that's what I tell everybody. That's what we want. I'm sitting there for 10 hours. I want to see something different.
So you want something out of the box, but you sometimes they want the norm. They want what's expected, because some people are typecast, right?
They are. I don't do typecasting. I don't like it. I mean, Audrey Landers plays, a doctor, and everything. Eric has really never played a bad guy in any one of my movies, where, he always plays bad guys. Federico, when he did Leaves of the Tree, he's a scientist doctor.
Yeah.
So I love taking people out of their typecasting.
Well, that's good for them too, because then when they go on to their next job, they have, another way another casting director or producer can look at them, right?
Absolutely. It's always good to get out of your comfort zone too.
Yeah.
As an actor. But yeah, and I always tell actors, you're in the room, you do a great job, you don't get the role, okay. It's not that you weren't good, you just didn't fit the piece of the puzzle.
Right.
When I'm casting, it's like putting together a jigsaw puzzle. Every single piece has to fit. And when we were doing Clinton Road, that's out also. Okay, that's another film that we did. It's about the Clinton Road in New Jersey. And I was matching all the friends together, and that stars Ace Young from American Idol, Cody Calford from Big Brother, Ice-T, Aaron O'Brien, a bunch of the friends. I had to make sure all the friends looked different. They didn't have the same hair color, and there was a contrast. So that
right. You don't want a bunch of blondes. You don't want a bunch of brunettes. Right.
Especially because they're going to be seen on a dark road, right?
Yeah.
And they're all together all the time, so.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So now, how long does the process take? Is there a difference between casting for a short film as opposed to, let's say, a pilot or a feature or a voice job?
No, pretty much for me, I plan it out. I'm a Virgo, so it takes a while. Like I'm casting right now for Red Money, which we were supposed to start in June. Now I don't think we're going to start till September, but we already have Kevin Dillon is starring in it. We have Busta Rhymes. We have another we almost have her. It's not signed yet, but I think we're going to get her. But one of the stars of Orange is the New Black. So I'm just waiting, to get that final before we say it. But no, we're gonna, we're casting right now.
Right. So now, would you prefer to be shooting, I would imagine, on Long Island or in New York, being, I guess nobody's too thrilled about hopping on a plane and going on location out of town right now, right?
Well, I mean, we're going to have to, there's a lot of new guidelines. I've been reading up on it. We keep getting everything from, Screen Actors Guild and, all the unions and everything. I don't know. It might actually be better going somewhere else, maybe going upstate.
Well, then you could just get in a car.
Right.
That's not bad, but I mean, getting on a plane.
Getting on a plane's a little nerve-wracking right now. Yeah. I know now, I heard the other day that everybody on the plane has to wear masks.
Yeah, JetBlue, I think, was the first airline to start that. Yeah.
I'm glad, because coming back on the plane from Indiana after my grandson was born, there was only like 20 of us on the plane, and people were coughing and sneezing, and I was freaking out with Timmy on the plane. And, it was a little disheartening because they didn't separate us, and there were so many vacant seats. And I actually wrote a letter to the airlines. They should have separated us.
Yeah, they could have, right? Easily. So now tell me something about Nick and Nikki. You were working on that a couple of years ago. How is that coming? Is that finished?
I believe it is. I believe they're just looking now for color correction. And they had a couple of screenings, and I believe it's probably going to come out maybe in 2021. This year I have Fifth Borough's coming out on June 3rd, every platform. We're excited about that. Chronicles of the Serial Killer.
Yeah, I was going to ask you about that. Is that a thriller?
It is, with a twist. It's a movie I probably won't watch because I'll be like this. And it's funny, even my family was like, you did a movie about serial killers? That's your fear. And it's because Steve did it, and I adore him. And I probably won't watch it because it's really crazy. But that has a great ensemble too. That has Brendan Sexton from Russian Dolls, Robert Clohessy, DMX. And that's another thing. The press was like, oh, DMX must play the serial killer. No, he plays the cop in it, the good detective. He's a
Yeah.
good guy, so I'm really excited about that. And James Russo's also in that. Constantine Margolis, a bunch of people.
Oh, yeah, he's cool.
Oh, and
So
Donna
now,
McKenna.
when you look at someone's resume, does that have weight as far as their audition? I mean, do you look at who they studied with? Is that have a lot to do with who you may pick?
It could, yeah, because I get a lot of headshots. I mean, Chronicles of the Serial Killer, I got over 10,000 submissions for like
Wow.
20 roles. And I go through them all, and people do know that. So yes, I mean, I love giving people a chance. So if they're the right fit, and maybe they had one or two things on their resume, or, they're non-union, it's okay. If they're the right fit, I'm going to make it work.
What about people that don't have a reel? Don't you
That's
need a
okay.
reel? You need something?
You do. If not, I'll put them on tape or have them send a self-tape. I have in Chronicles of a Serial Killer 5 new actors that just came out of college, and they got Taft-Hartley into the union. I got them SAG eligible. They were the right fit,
Right. Well, it's easy now to self-tape. It's easier now than it was years ago. It's more user-friendly.
Yes, very much so. And it's going to be that way for a long time. So all actors that are watching, get your skills ready, because all your auditions are going to be self-taped. My dog's barking. You see?
That's okay.
I know. I saw on ABC News, the dog walked right in on the camera the other day.
I know the funniest things are happening. There was someone they had today that he thought he was only being taped from the waist up, so he didn't have pants on. His bare legs were in the shot the whole time.
It's crazy. I just read before, a guy in another country, he was doing his news, and I mean, it's there, the picture's there and everything, and a woman walked in the background, and it was not his wife.
Ooh.
Go look at that.
There's a movie right there. There's a movie right there.
Yeah.
So, what advice would you give to people who are just starting out in the business?
Train, get yourself, with some good coaches, training. And I always tell actors, which I'm really a big advocate for, is create your own work. Because right now, everyone's competing for the same jobs. I mean, even, with me, when I get submissions, I'm getting them, they're submitting stars, So like everyone that's just starting out is getting submitted with stars. And it's going to be that way for a while, especially with everybody, wanting to work once we get back. So train, get all your tools in order, your resume, your headshot, get a great monologue, get some scenes, and create your own work too. Write something. I tell everybody right now, while we're, here in our safe zone, I don't like to use the word stuck. I don't say we're stuck at home. We're safe at home.
Yes, I agree.
This is a time for everyone to reset and, get prepared for when we get back out there. So create something, be creative.
Do you see that there's an uptick in either comedy or drama or female films? Where is most of the energy going? Is there a direction?
I think now, if you would have asked me this a couple of months ago, I would have said female films and maybe drama. But now I think everybody's going to want heartwarming, human stories. I really do.
What about stories about what happened during the pandemic?
Yes, absolutely. I know many are being done right now. That's why. Oh yeah, I believe there's many more like reality shows being done right now, but not like the corny ones, like about people. People want to know about people. I think the pandemic is, it's a horrible, terrible thing, but it has its little, other than people dying and being so sick and not being able to eat, it has a little silver lining. That's what even Cuomo has said, it's brought people together. People care about people. People want to know about people. We look at people differently now. And really, all honesty, did we ever give the store clerk like courtesy before? We're always
they're the invisible people.
Exactly.
The invisible people. Our sanitation workers, the grocery store workers. Exactly.
No invisible people at all. No more.
Everyday people. Everyday people. Yes, they're really rising to the occasion. And I know that I'm nervous when I know I have to go food shopping the next day. And when I see the people at the checkout, I'm amazed. How can they do this every day? It's fearful.
It's very fearful. I have to go food shopping later because hubby wanted to go and I won't let him go in the store. So
No.
I suit up and go. So I will be doing that in a little bit.
No, you can't let him. So, Donna, we're almost out of time, and I'm not going to be putting up any credits or whatever. Can you tell us some websites where we might be able to get in touch with you if we wanted to reach you or find out more?
Well, right now my website is being worked on. That's another thing. Actors, get your stuff in order while we're quarantined. But social media is fine. I've got Twitter, I've got Instagram, I've got Facebook. And you could just plug in Donna McKenna, and you'll find it.
Okay, and where can they go to look for jobs on their own? Are there any general websites for actors that you would recommend?
Sure, there's Actors Access, there's New York Castings, Backstage has things. Actually, right now, Actors Access has a lot of stuff. And, there's also a lot of wonderful free stuff right now online for actors and everyday people at home. I mean, I'm taking courses that I never took before. And actors, there's a lot of virtual auditions right now that, you can tape yourself and send it to a casting director. So they should all get on social media and see where those are.
Great, Donna. It's been great talking to you.
Yes, thank
Stay
you.
safe.
You too.
And I hope I see you in person eventually when
Yes.
the coast is clear.
Yes, everyone be safe. God bless. Be well.
Thank you so much for coming in today.
Thank you for having me.